Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me. This is Ciara from Ciara T Designs, and we are into week 5 of my 12 Weeks of Christmas series. So let's jump right in. So for this week, I wanted to do a really clean and simple card. And yes, I am bringing back more snowflakes because I love them and they never get old. So I'm going to start by making my mini slimline bases. I like to cut my cardstock down first so that I can see what I'm working with. And for the base, I cut my cardstock down to 6 by 6 inches, and then it will be scored at the 3-inch mark. I'm also going to have a really cool mat and a panel that I'm going to work on. So for the mat, I have this cardstock here. This is the Tim Holtz, I have to check my notes because I always say it wrong, Kraft-Stock Sparkle Classics in the silver. So the set comes with gold and silver. And then for my panel, I'm going to use a piece of distressed watercolor cardstock that I'm going to cut down. So for the mat, I like to make it about 1/8 of an inch smaller than my base. And then for the panel, I make it about 1/4 of an inch smaller than the base so that I get a nice thin border all the way around. I'm going to score my bases now. And if you have not subscribed to my channel yet and you enjoy my content, I'd love it if you'd consider subscribing. My goal is to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we are getting pretty close to it, and I'm incredibly excited. So if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you already have subscribed, thank you so much for supporting my dream here. I cannot thank you enough. So let's jump back into the video. So you can see there that I've trimmed down I've scored it and we've trimmed it down, and I've made sure that I like how my layers look. Next, I'm going to stamp out, it's a brush stroke from the Tim Holtz, I believe it's just called the Brushstroke stamp set. Everything is always linked and listed down below if you're ever interested in a specific item, but it is the Brushstroke stamps. And I brought in 3 Distress Oxide ink colors that I thought really lend themselves towards Christmas. This could also be Eastern if you wanted to. They are a pastel color palette. But if you've watched any of my Christmas videos, you know that I tend towards a more non-traditional color palette for Christmas. But the great thing about this specific card is this would easily be adaptable to whatever you want it to be. You don't like these colors? No problem. Make them red and green. Just be careful when you blend between them because red and green make brown. But you could change this color palette to be anything that makes you happy. So if you don't enjoy the colors I've chosen, no problem at all. Just switch up the color palette. I did add a little bit of water to it because I wanted a more watercolor look. If you don't want that, by no means do you need to add that. Stamp it down and you don't have to worry about it. Also, you wouldn't need to use watercolor cardstock for that. But I love the texture of watercolor cardstock, and I really wanted to have them kind of blend a little bit, kind of have a little more movement, just because it's such a clean and simple card. There's not a lot going on. I want there to be interest, and this is an easy way to add that interest. And I did choose to use my blending tools to add color just because I felt like it was easier to add the color this way than to add the color onto this kind of small stamp with, overlapping colors in the middle and having a little bit of blend. Like, you kind of just end up contaminating your ink pad, which isn't a big deal. They're super easy to clean off. Like, that's not a problem, and I've done it in the past. If the stamp was bigger, I probably would have done it that way. But I felt like this was a lot easier just to bring in my blending tools and just kind of dab on the color where it was needed. And then I'm going to stamp it down again. I am only creating 2 cards in this video, but you could easily create many more if you wanted to. This is a really easy card to recreate, and it's very versatile. So I am going to create a snowflake for it just because, again, I love snowflakes. They're probably my favorite shape right beside butterflies. And so I'm going to bring in 3 sizes of a snowflake. These are from the Tim Holtz Paper Snowflake Minis die set, and there's several snowflakes in there. I think it comes with like 18 different snowflakes. There's so many. I don't quote me on the actual amount, but there is a lot of snowflakes in that die set. And so I just picked out a couple of ones that I thought would layer nicely together. I like how they look. And then I'm going to cut them out, each one of them out twice, so that I can kind of create my layered look. And I did use the same sparkle cardstock that's going to be underneath my panel. Yes, you could cut them out of the panel. I do end up getting comments fairly, not often, but consistently that, like I don't need to use this, or I should be cutting that, or do what works for you. If you want to conserve your materials and you're concerned about, wasting product or anything like that, you do what you need to do. You do you, as Tim Holtz says. But for me personally, I opt not to cut out the center of things. I use very heavyweight cardstocks when I create. And so I don't like when something sags, and I can tell. And because I sell my cards, or I send them to pen pals, or I send them to friends, I really want them to, not have any kind of sagging. And I feel like they do when I cut things out of them. So I don't do that. But if you want to, please do. You do whatever works for you and whatever you're comfortable with. The same thing goes for adhesive. Some people say that I use too much glue. That's perfectly okay for you, but I like my stuff to adhere. So I use what I feel is necessary. So don't let the art police tell you how to do the things. As long as you are happy and you're enjoying what you're making and it makes you smile at the end, that's really all that matters, So just keep that in mind. And if you have criticisms for me, go for it. You can always share them with me. I'm happy to hear them, especially if they're constructive in some way. But I am going to use as much glue or as much tape as I think is necessary for the project. So that's just kind of, how I look at it. I'm going to use some foam tape here in a second after I've kind of layered up my snowflakes. And I did actually have a comment a little while ago about that I didn't need to use as much foam tape as I use. But honestly, I've been using this same roll of foam tape for over 3 years now, and I still have not used it. So, I'm not too concerned about, waste of my products, because I feel like I get a lot of bang for my buck out of the products that I use. So just keep that in mind, and always kind of, if you're going to make criticisms of other people, you can criticize me as much as you need to, because it doesn't really bother me. But if you're going to make criticisms on other people's stuff, please just be kind in them. Some people are new to creating, and things can be hurtful, and art is so subjective. Maybe you don't like the color palette that I've used, but that's no problem. You can change that up super easily. So just be aware that sometimes comments can come across hurtful to others. So please just be kind. At the end of the day, we're all just here sharing an art that we love. And I don't want anybody to be discouraged because of something someone else said, for, no real criticism. You don't leave hurtful comments on people's stuff. If you don't like it, that's perfectly okay, but just move on. Don't comment on things you don't like. So just keep that in mind. I know it sounds silly to have to say, but I want this to be a very creative and fun space. And sometimes people can be a bit hurtful. So, and keep that in mind. And I'm not saying that based on comments on my stuff. Generally, people are incredibly sweet when they leave me comments. Every once in a while, I get comments about my nails, or on occasion, I get comments on my lashes. Because you guys, if you've been ever to a live with me, or you've watched any of my vlog content, you'll know that I have fake lashes. So I do get comments sometimes like that. Maybe just don't comment on people's appearance. That's always a safe bet. But yeah, I want this to be a very, sharing and kind space. So just be kind in your comments to others. That is my little TED talk for today. I hope you guys are enjoying how these cards are coming together. You did see me build the snowflakes, and then I adhered my panels together. I do find that I have to be a little bit I have to add a little more pressure to get other cardstocks to stick on top of the sparkles. I do find that they don't always like to adhere quickly. So just be aware of that. I mean, if you use double-sided tape or anything like that, it'd probably be perfectly fine. But because I used liquid glue, I just needed to wait a little bit longer to actually get it to adhere, which is perfectly fine. Worst of the worst, just put something heavy on top of it. That's what I would do. Sometimes it's my Misti, sometimes it's my stamping platform. It just depends on what I have sitting beside me. And the stamp set that I used for the sentiment, that is from Simon Says Stamp. It is the Christmas Blessings stamp set. It is my favorite stamp set. Last time I checked, it was sold out. But if you've got your eye on this set, just wait. They usually restock it. I think it's just because we're going into the Christmas season. So of course, this stuff sells out quicker when we're going into the season of that creating, but it is just a beautiful stamp set of all these different Christmas sentiments in a script and matching font. So this is my favorite stamp set. If you were only going to buy one font of Christmas stamp sets, like sentiment ones, this would be the one I would suggest. But as I said, last time I looked, it was sold out. So you might just have to type in that notify me when it comes back in stock option and then just buy it when you have a chance down the road. I mean, Black Friday is coming, so maybe there'll be some good deals. We'll have to see, but yeah, it is by far my favorite stamp set. But you just saw that foam tape roll. I literally have been using that for more than 4 years. So use your supplies however you want. But yeah, so now I'm just going to add a little foam square in the center of my snowflakes. I just wanted to pop them up a little bit. If you're worried this isn't going to adhere them enough, you could of course just glue them flat. I like a little bit of texture and interest on my cards. So I do tend to add dimension if I feel like the card is a bit more simple. And of course, I've been informed they're called dendrils, which is like the legs of the snowflake, the dendrils of the snowflake. They are all able to be pushed up if you wanted to add a little more interest as well. So that is the cards I created for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed them. I hope you'll leave me a like, leave me a comment, and consider subscribing. As I said, I am hoping to get to 10,000 by the end of the year, and we only have 2 months left. So all the subs help, and if you have subbed, thank you so much. You are amazing, and I greatly appreciate you. Come back again for Thursday. I have a really fun video for you, and I do have live streams on the channel now as well. It's every second Thursday, so it's not the Thursday coming, but the next one I will be working on a really cool journal. Thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye-bye for now.